At my mom's birthday, everything seemed normal. Then my 10-year-old called me on the phone. Get out. Now. What happened? I asked. Her voice shook. Get out of the house. I obeyed. It was the last time I ever stepped foot in my parents' home. 3 months later they were begging me to forgive them. It was just a birthday. A regular, middle-of-the-road, pastel and paper napkins kind of birthday. My mom had made that fruit tart she always makes when she wants to look low effort but still superior. My dad was telling one of his go-to stories about how hard life used to be. My sister Bianca had brought balloons and was acting like she hadn't spent the morning yelling at her kids. In other words, everything felt normal. The kind of normal you stop noticing when you live inside it. Same smells. Same voices. Same rhythms. A few laughs. Some complaints. My daughter Freya had disappeared off somewhere to play or read. There were cupcakes. Cheap wine. Background music. No drama, no shouting, no tension I could feel in the air. I wasn't even thinking. I was just existing in it. Floating through it. Keeping my head down and my mouth shut like I'd trained myself to do. Keep things light. Don't bring up the hard stuff. Smile like you're not tired. Play along. Looking back now, I want to shake myself. How did I not feel it? How did I not notice anything was off? But I didn't. If anything, I thought maybe things were starting to get better. That maybe we'd all settled into some kind of peace. I even caught myself smiling once or twice. And then my phone rang. I pulled it out of my pocket and blinked at the screen. My daughter. Calling. That was strange. She usually just came and found me if she needed something. I looked around. Didn't see her. Maybe she was upstairs or in the backyard. I answered. Hey, what's up? Her voice hit me like a punch. Get out. Now. I stopped moving. The room didn't stop, but I did. Like the air had shifted. What happened? I asked. Just get out of the house. Please. Right now. Her voice was shaking. She was whispering. She sounded scared. I stood up slowly. My mind went blank, then loud. What's going on? Did someone hurt her? Did she fall? Was someone in the house? I didn't ask anything else. Just walked out the front door. Not a word to anyone. Not a glance at the snack table or my mom's bright smile. Not a check for my shoes. I just moved like my body had taken over. Like I was outside of it watching myself walk. When I stepped out, the air was still warm. The garden smelled like cut grass and cheap perfume. And there she was. Standing by the driveway. Backpack over one shoulder. Her eyes locked on mine. She wasn't crying. She wasn't moving either. For a second my heart stopped. Actually stopped. Then everything caught up. I rushed over. What's going on? What happened? Can we go? She said. I don't want to talk here. Just get in the car. I looked at her. At her hands, her face, the way she clutched the straps of her bag. She wasn't injured. But she looked hollow. Did someone yell at you? I asked. Did someone say something? No, she said. Not exactly. Just, please. Let's go. I nodded. My voice didn't work. I just turned, unlocked the car and got in. We drove away in silence. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just gone. No one saw us leave. Or if they did, no one stopped us. She stared out the window. I kept my hands tight on the wheel. My brain was trying to fill in blanks I didn't have. Did she hear something? Did someone hurt her? Did someone threaten her? Was it one of the other kids? Was it my mom? My dad? Everything was possible. Every idea was worse than the one before. I wanted to ask more. I didn't. We pulled into a parking lot by an old garden center a few blocks away. It was closed. Quiet. I turned off the engine. Just sat there. Okay, I said finally, gently. We're alone. You can tell me now. What happened? She didn't answer. I looked at her. Her hands were in her lap. She was still staring straight ahead. After a moment she said, I don't want to go back. Not to Grandma. Not to Grandpa. Not to that house. Not ever again. I felt like the breath had been knocked out of me. Her voice wasn't angry. Or dramatic. It was flat. Honest. The way you say something when you've already made the decision and lived with it in your head for hours before saying it out loud. I don't understand, I said softly. I thought everything was fine. What happened? She just shook her head. Please don't make me go back. I sat there staring at the steering wheel, trying to make my brain catch up. trying to connect the dots when I hadn't even seen the board. I won't, I said finally. I won't take you back there. And that was it. She didn't explain. I didn't push. We just sat in silence. Me wondering how I'd missed whatever she saw. Her quietly trying to hold herself together in the passenger seat. I kept trying to play the day back in my head, replaying everything. Every look. Every comment. Every missed moment. And I had nothing. That's what scared me the most. I didn't see it coming. I lived in that house. I knew these people. Thought I knew. And she had seen something that made her want to run. And I'd never forget the way she sounded on the phone. Like her life depended on getting out. Like mine did too. Before any of that, though, there was a whole life that led us here. I was the oldest of two girls. You'd think that came with authority, leadership, maybe even a little favoritism. Not in my family. In my family, being the eldest meant you were the guinea pig. The let's see what happens if we do this child. When I turned 15 and got a job at the local bakery, my parents clapped like I'd just been knighted. Not because they were proud, because now I could help with the bills. We all contribute in this house, my mom said, waving off my protests when I wanted to buy myself a pair of jeans. By 16, I was handing over half my paycheck and doing weekend shifts no one asked me to take. I told myself it was noble, family-oriented, maybe even mature. Then my sister hit the same age. No job. No pressure. No mention of contributing. She got to sleep in and go to the mall with her friends while I was elbow-deep in dish soap and overtime. I asked my mom once gently why that was. She's just not built the same way as you, she said. As if I was a factory model and my sister was a porcelain doll. So I swallowed it. I didn't want to be petty. I didn't want to make trouble. Besides, I was doing okay. I had plans. I had a future. Or so I thought. I married young. Too young probably. But I thought I was happy. My husband Vincent was charming, in that low-energy passive sort of way that makes you think he's easygoing. He wasn't. I worked. A lot. I had a good job, better than good. Long hours, good salary, solid reputation. Vincent worked part-time. Said he wanted to spend more time with Freya. Said I was better at the career stuff anyway. And at the time that worked for me. I didn't question it. I didn't realize how fast imbalance can start to feel like normal. Then things shifted. Gradually at first. He got short-tempered. Withdrawn. Snapped more often. His presence started to feel like walking on cracked glass. Nothing broken yet, but you felt it in your steps. And it bled over. Not just with me. With our daughter too. Not hitting. Not bruises. But shouting, slamming, long silences, threats muttered just low enough to deny. The final straw was the bottle. He threw it across the room. Didn't hit anyone. Didn't mean to, he said. But our daughter was in the hallway when it shattered. She flinched so hard she dropped the mug in her hands. And something in me cracked. I didn't wait to see what came next. I packed a bag. Took my daughter. Walked out. I went back to the one place I never thought I'd need again. Home. Except it wasn't really home anymore. My parents took us in technically. But it was clear from the beginning that it came at a cost. By moving back, I gave up my job. There was no way I could keep up that schedule as a single mom. Not with court hearings, trauma therapy, school pickups, and a kid who had started flinching at sudden noises. And in my line of work, part-time options are like unicorns. I settled for something flexible and humiliatingly underpaid. Enough to survive, not enough to live. And definitely not enough to support anyone else. Which was a problem. Because for years I'd been the golden goose. When I was still earning, I'd sent my parents money every month. Covered big bills. Took care of small ones without them asking. I even paid for their all-inclusive vacation to Portugal 2 summers ago. They still talk about it like it was the highlight of their lives. So when the check stopped, their lifestyle took a hit. Quiet but noticeable. They weren't happy. Not openly. But in the little things. The way my mom sighed when she looked at the grocery bill. The way my dad brought up the water bill twice a week. The way they suddenly forgot to add me to the family group chat. And the house was packed. My sister and her husband lived there too. Along with their 2 toddlers who had the energy of caffeinated raccoons and zero volume control. They lived there basically rent-free. My parents doted on them. Watched them. Babysat. Bragged. So I thought, if she can stay here with her circus, I can stay too, right? But it didn't feel right. From day one I noticed the shift. My daughter's drawings didn't stay on the fridge for more than a day. Her plate was cleared before she finished. Once she got scolded for talking too much, when all she'd done was laugh at a cartoon. There were stares. Not from everyone. But enough. She noticed it too. Of course she did. She stopped spending time downstairs. She clung to me more. She asked if we could have our own place soon. And I told her we would. That this was just temporary. That family was supposed to help. I really believed that. Until the day she called me and told me to get out of the house. We sat in the car. Parked under a sad little tree in a quiet lot. My hands were on the wheel, but I wasn't going anywhere. I finally spoke. Can you tell me what happened? She didn't hesitate, not this time. Grandma and Grandpa and Aunt, they don't want me there, she said. They were talking. I was in the bathroom. They didn't know I could hear. I stared ahead. Let her talk. They said they're going to send me back to Daddy. That I'd be better off. That they're planning something. She said it like it was just information. Whether. Nothing personal. I don't want to go, she added, still looking straight out the window. I don't want to be near him. I didn't say anything. She had overheard a plan to hand her back to the man I'd taken her away from. And I hadn't seen a thing. When I was a kid, I thought betrayal would be louder. Like someone yelling surprise with a knife in their hand. Turns out it was quieter. Sometimes it hid in bathroom tiles and murmured through thin walls. Sometimes it was whispered by the people who raised you. I looked at her. They said what? She didn't blink. They're planning to make you lose me. They were talking in the kitchen. I was in the bathroom. They didn't know. I waited, braced. They said you'd lose custody anyway. That they could help it happen faster. That Daddy would take better care of me. And if I went back to him, then you'd go back to your old job. Start helping them again. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. They said, you'd be better off. She paused. They said they could plant something. In your stuff. Drugs maybe. So it looks bad. And then call child services. Silence. They want to frame me? She just nodded. Her lips were pressed so tight together they'd gone white. And you're sure? They said it, Mom. They said it all. That I'm too much, that I never stopped talking, that the house is full and it used to be so nice. They said you're not useful anymore. And that he was always the better parent. I felt something shift. Not snap, not shatter. Just shift. She said, so I packed what I could. There's two. I left. I called you. I looked down at her small backpack in the footwell. She'd remembered to grab my charger. I nearly lost it right there. Instead I turned the key and drove. I didn't go back. Not for clothes, not for answers, not even for my toothbrush. I drove straight to Chris's house. Chris and I have been friends since we were 10. Never dated, never tried. Just one of those rare human unicorns. A platonic male best friend who shows up, keeps quiet and always has extra toothpaste. He opened the door with a coffee in hand and one sock on. I need to crash here, I said. He looked at me, then at my daughter, and stepped aside without asking questions. That's why he's still in my life. That night we slept on his couch. Freya curled up beside me, too quiet for a kid. I stared at the ceiling, counting ceiling fan rotations and trying not to scream. My phone buzzed 17 times. I didn't check it once. The next morning I tried to be normal. I brushed my hair. Found socks that almost matched. Packed my daughter's lunch and added a napkin with a bad doodle of a cat. I kissed her cheek and said, "You're brave." She nodded. No smile. Just solid bravery. We walked to school. And they were there. Of course they were. My parents. Standing by the gate like the mafia, except with tote bags and that fake polite tension people wear when they're about to say something awful. My daughter froze. "It's okay," I said. "Go in. I've got this." She ran off. I faced the enemy. "Where have you been?" my mom snapped. No good morning. No hug. No apology. "I think you already know," I said. "We've been calling all night. You disappeared with her." That was my dad. He looked more offended than concerned. "I didn't disappear," I said. "I removed my daughter from a place where people were plotting to destroy my life." My mom blinked. "Excuse me." I didn't flinch. "She heard you. In the kitchen. While you were laying out your little custody sabotage plan." "That's ridiculous," she said quickly. She must have misunderstood. Did she misunderstand the part where you were going to plant drugs on me? Her mouth opened, closed, A flush crept up her neck. We were talking hypotheticals, she mumbled. You've been stressed. You quit your job. The custody fight is going nowhere. You've been trying, I cut in. I've been trying. While you've been busy plotting my collapse because your spa weekends dried up. That's not fair, my dad said. We've helped you. I laughed. Actually laughed. You housed me. After I paid your bills for years. After I booked you 2 a week in Crete and bought your damn espresso machine. My mom's eyes narrowed. This is about money now? This is about loyalty, I said. Which you sold for a better chance at holidays. We just wanted what's best for her, my dad said. You're fighting all the time. He was always so good with her. He threw a bottle at the wall while she was in the room, I snapped. He wasn't a father. He was a threat. And you knew that. My mom folded her arms. You're emotional. You're blowing this out of. I'm done, I said. I'm done letting you twist this. You tried to wreck my custody case. You tried to erase me as a mother so you could go back to being comfortable. There was silence. I looked between them. You want comfort? You'll have it. Starting now, you'll never hear from me again. Not a cent. Not a visit. Not another ounce of me. Don't be dramatic, my dad said. I turned. You haven't seen dramatic. And I walked away. That night, Chris found me in his kitchen, arms wrapped around a mug of tea I hadn't touched. You okay? He asked gently. No, I said. But at least I know where I stand. My daughter came out in her pajamas, holding the bad cat doodle napkin in her hand. She didn't say anything. Just sat next to me and leaned her head on my arm. I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't devastated, but because I was too exhausted to. I'd lost my parents. Or maybe I just finally admitted they were never really mine to lose. What I hadn't lost was sitting next to me. And I'd burn the whole damn world down before I let anyone take her again. You'd think after everything that had already happened, I would have learned to relax when things got quiet. But I didn't. Silence, I found, is just betrayal taking a breath. It had been weeks since we'd heard from my parents. No messages. No threats. No weird cousin reaching out to check on us. Just stillness. Nathan called it peace. I called it suspicious. Freya was doing better slowly. Sleeping again. Eating again. She'd started drawing these odd little comic strips of wolves fighting snakes. And I didn't ask questions because they all ended with the wolf winning and curling up in a den with her cub. That was good enough for me. I was still staying at Nathan's. I say still, like I had some lease lined up and just hadn't signed it yet. I didn't. I had nothing lined up. And Nathan, bless him, hadn't once hinted that we were overstaying. He made Freya pancakes and me coffee and said things like, you can stay as long as you need, and I started to believe he meant it. Then came the job offer. It was flexible, it paid well, and I wouldn't have to sell my soul or give up seeing my kid just to afford cheese again. I didn't cry when I got it, but I did lock myself in the bathroom and laugh until I coughed. That job was my first piece of the old life. The good part, clawing its way back. So, of course, that's when I saw the photos. I wasn't even snooping. I opened Instagram to check if Freya's school posted any updates about the art show, and there they were. My parents. On a beach. With Vincent. Sunburned and smiling like someone who knew the judge personally. Bianca was there too, looking smug as a wet cat holding a coconut drink like it was court-admissible evidence. The caption said, "Family first. So proud of the kind of dad he is to our granddaughter." I didn't drop the phone. I just stared at it, then turned the screen to Nathan and said, "Well, that explains why they've been quiet. They're tanning their betrayal." He didn't say anything for a while. Then he handed me a cookie. That's why I love him. 2 days later, Child Protection Services showed up. They knocked at 9 a.m. on a Thursday. I opened the door half-dressed. Freya was brushing her teeth, and Nathan was somewhere in the back trying to fix the leaky faucet with the world's smallest wrench. "We received a report," the woman said, clipboard in hand, her colleague standing slightly behind her, scanning the hallway like we might be hiding meth in a potted plant. I didn't have to ask who reported me, but I did anyway. "It was your parents," she said. Of course it was. They said I'd run off with Freya. That I was unstable, that I didn't have a permanent home, that I was involving strange men in my daughter's care. Which I guess was Nathan, who was currently in the kitchen pouring juice into a cup shaped like a unicorn horn. They checked the bedrooms, asked Freya a few questions, inspected the fridge. Found nothing. Said we'd hear back only if further action was needed. I thanked them with the emotional warmth of a sandwich bag. Then I went into the bathroom and vomited. The next day I sat across from my lawyer while he poked at a salad and said things like, "This is serious, Daria." "No kidding," I muttered. He explained that if my parents testified for Vincent in the custody case, which was now days away, it would hurt. A lot. "They're close family," he said. "They know you well. If they paint a picture of instability, it'll hold weight." I looked at my lawyer, who once wore a tie with flamingos on it, to mediation and asked, "Do you think I'm going to lose her?" He sighed and said, "Not if she speaks." That night, Freya asked me if she would have to talk in court. I said yes if she wanted to stay with me. She didn't even blink. She just said, "Good," and went back to sketching her wolf comic. This one had snakes wearing grandma wigs. The courtroom smelled like air freshener and lies. Vincent showed up in a suit so stiff it looked like it was wearing him. My parents came in after him, sat behind his chair like they belonged to him now. Bianca didn't even look my way. Freya sat beside me, swinging her legs nervously. Nathan gave me a half smile and sat in the back, a steady shadow. The first day was brutal. My parents took the stand and said I was moody and not emotionally stable. My mother said I'd always been too sensitive. My father nodded like he was being interviewed for a documentary called How to Destroy Your Daughter in Court. Bianca echoed them. "Vincent was a wonderful father," she said. "He stayed home, he cared for Freya, he was always patient." I wanted to stand up and scream, then why the hell did I leave him? But I didn't. I sat there, nails digging into my palm, while they described a version of me I didn't recognize. And then finally it was Freya's turn. She took the stand like it was a school presentation. Looked at the judge, not at her father. "I want to live with my mom," she said. "She listens to me, she makes me feel safe, she's never yelled at me." They asked about Vincent. She hesitated. Then said, "He gets angry. He throws things. He threw a bottle once. It scared me." Silence. And then she said, "I don't want to live with him. I don't feel safe." They asked if anyone else ever made her uncomfortable. My grandma and aunt said they wanted me to go live with him. That they were going to make mommy lose me. They said they'd put stuff in her bag to get her in trouble. Dead silence. I wasn't crying. I couldn't cry. I felt like I'd been dropped into a vacuum. And that should have been enough. But the universe wasn't done. During the break, Vincent approached my mother. They were arguing. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the motion, his hand grabbing her wrist, hard, sharp. She yanked it back, my father stepped in. Vincent stormed off. And that was the last time they ever stood near him again. They didn't come back to court. My lawyer told me later they'd withdrawn their testimony. And that we had enough. We returned to court. My lawyer brought the fire. He laid out the money trail. The car, the vacation, the hidden assets Vincent hadn't disclosed during our divorce. It was all there. Receipts, transactions. He'd bought their loyalty. And then when the money stopped, so did they. The judge ruled in my favor. I got full custody. No visitation. No contact. Vincent left the courtroom red-faced and sweating. My parents didn't show up at all. The week after the ruling, their vacation photos vanished from social media. The car was gone. The glow dried up. Nathan showed me a screenshot of one of my mom's posts before it was deleted. "Sometimes family is the hardest lesson." I laughed. Actually laughed. Fast forward a year. I still wake up sometimes half expecting a war. But then I look over and see Nathan snoring into a pillow and Freya curled up on the other side with her wolf plushie, and I remember, we're okay now. Nathan and I ended up together. Which still surprises me. For the longest time I didn't see him that way. I'd known him since we were kids, back when he used to eat crayons and swear he'd be a firefighter pre-scientist when he grew up. I think I'd filed him under permanent friend material and just left him there. Turns out he'd liked me for years. He told me one night over burnt toast and dishwater wine that he never said anything because he didn't want to ruin what we had. But then something shifted. Maybe it was the way he held Freya's hand at court, or the fact he never once tried to fix me, just stood beside me while I unraveled and reassembled myself. Maybe it was just timing. Maybe it was everything. All I know is one night he kissed me and I kissed him back, and suddenly the whole world made a bit more sense. He's good to me. Better than I thought possible. Freya loves him, he builds cardboard castles with her, listens to her wolf theories like they're gospel, and lets her win at Mario Kart exactly half the time. She told him the other day, "I'm glad you're part of our pack." He cried in the hallway. Denies it, but I saw it. There was one attempt from my parents to reconcile. They showed up at the door one Saturday morning with pancakes. Literal pancakes. Like the smell of betrayal comes with syrup. They said they didn't understand what Vincent was really like, and that, maybe we could move past it all. I didn't even get to answer. Nathan stepped into the hallway, looked them dead in the eye and said, "You need to leave. Now." Freya peeked out and nodded like backup. They left. I haven't heard from them since. I did hear through the grapevine that things haven't been easy for them. Financially they're struggling. Some people, extended family, old friends, cut ties after finding out what they tried to do. Apparently, trying to frame your daughter to win back a free babysitter and vacation fund doesn't play well at Bridge Club. Me, I'm doing okay. Actually better than okay. I've got a stable job I like, a daughter who laughs in her sleep, and a partner who makes me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed. It's not flashy. It's not perfect. But it's mine. And I'll fight like hell to keep it. Did I go too far? Or not far enough? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe.